Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for GotBots 3, Making Bots with QnA Maker plus Azure Bot Services. This is the third of our GotBots 5-part series. I will be sharing a link to the full series where you can find the past episodes recordings as well as the upcoming sessions. But before we start, I just have a few quick things to go over. Please feel free to ask questions using the live chat. In the chat, we'll also be sharing links to some Reactor meetup pages and monthly newsletters if you're interested in checking out what other sessions we have coming up. If you haven't already, please check in using the event check-in with event ID 13977. By checking in, you will receive links to the content that go along with today's session. I will put that in the chat again. And then finally, we'll be sharing a survey towards the end, and if you have a few moments, we greatly appreciate your feedback. And I will now pass it over to Chloe.
Thank you, Dion. Hi, y'all. I'm so excited. We're back. It is GotBots 3 today, y'all. I can't believe we've gotten this far. We've done 2 episodes already covering all the fun and amazing things that you can do. Let's see. Well, we'll do a recap in a sec. I'm going to tweet real quick that we're live so people know that we're live. But in the meantime, I'm going to share my screen so you can see my awesome background that I talked about last time. This is my really cool Clippy background. If you've not checked out these really cool backgrounds, they just announced, I think it was the M365 team or maybe the Teams team, just made all of these really awesome backgrounds. One of them being Clippy. So exciting. Okay, I'm going to tweet live now, aka.ms/GotBots3. Okay, now maybe we'll get some people joining us in here. GotBots3. Yay. Okay, so if you're in the chat, let me know what brings you here. Are you scared of bots? Are you excited to learn about bots? What's your bots experience? Why are you joining us today? Where are you joining us from? I would love to know. We're also experimenting today, streaming to my own channels as well. So that's very exciting. Let us know what brings you here. I'm very excited. We're going to learn more about bots today. Okay, just making sure that the link that I tweeted is the actual correct link to this, and then we can get started. Perfection. Okay, we did it. Hi, y'all. I'm Chloe Condon. I am a senior cloud advocate here at Microsoft. I work on the Next Generation Experiences team. And yeah, this has been, I'm going to just bring this up real quick. This link that I have right above me, aka.ms/GotBots links, will take you to this handy dandy summary page that I've created. I hope you enjoy it. That has a bunch of different links to all of the previous episodes that we've done. So if you are looking to check out previous episodes, I got you covered right here. You can follow this page for new episodes and all the links to our upcoming live streams. So, of course, we are on number 3 right here. We've got our previous ones here, but coming up next week, we're going to be making bots with the Azure portal. And then episode 5, the week after next, same time, same place, we will be doing a show and tell with bot makers. Special surprise guests of people who've made really cool bots. So definitely check those out if you want to get links to any of the resources for this. GotBots links is where to go. But what I thought we would do today to kind of kick things off, hold on one second, y'all. Sorry, a timer was going on and off in my home. The joys of working from home. So what I thought we would do is do a little recap of what we did previously. So this is the previously on GotBots. So if you're just joining us today, you have a little bit of a recap of what we did before, and it gives some people a chance to join. So episode 1, GotBots 1, which again, you can check out on this handy dandy summary page linked above my head. GotBots 1, we talked all about, this was our intro to bots and ethical bot creation. Now, as I mentioned before, sometimes bots can be a little scary for people, or I think bots kind of get a bad name, right? Like we think of like the election or even just like harassment bots and things like that. So this episode was really about an introduction to bots, different types of bots. I even have this handy dandy summary here that we can go through. I talked all about how I got started with bots, the birth of Shania bot, of course, which is the first bot that I built during the pandemic. This is a Shania Twain bot that tweets "Let's go girls" every day and also has some additional features you can learn about. We then had a special guest, PJ Metz, who created a lot of the bots with me, come and talk. Definitely check that out. And all these timestamps will take you exactly to where this is. Yeah, and then we touched briefly on Azure QnA Maker, which is what we're going to be talking about today. We talked about Azure Logic Apps, which is what we covered on our last episode. We talked all about these very silly, fun bots that I've made, such as Brittany bot, Mechanical Carry, Just Bot Paid bot, all kinds of bots for your enjoyment and pleasure. So we went over a bunch of examples. We did a throwback to Smarter Child, one of the earliest bots that I can think of personally. We then talked about a Tinkerbell meet and greet. So definitely check out all of these links if you want to kind of go back and see what we talked about. And I also tell a very funny personal story about ethical bot creation, specifically about shirt bots, which I almost wore the shirt today, y'all. I'll wear it tomorrow. Great. So if you want any of recap on episode 1, that's where we did there. Episode 2, that was last week. Oh my goodness, it seems like so much longer ago. We talked all about making bots with Azure Logic Apps, which truly took us about 10 minutes. Took me maybe like 20 minutes to get a Twitter account up and running, but that was my bad. But definitely check out this episode. This is really fun. We made Bon Jovi bot on the last episode, which you can go and follow right now. He is at oh, I need to make a cover photo here, at Bon Jovi bot with 2 T's. And this is a really simple, basic bot that just tweets at the half day mark in Pacific Standard Time. We're half day there. It's a pun. If you don't like puns, maybe you don't want to be tuning into this stream because there's going to be a lot of them. But yeah, this was a really simple bot that we literally spun up live on last week's live stream. And you can check out all of the information and summary here. You can watch the old episode as well. But yeah, we did a little review. We talked about Shania bot again. We started building Bon Jovi bot. And I also linked to a couple of things I talked about here. Here's a talk that I gave at Powerful Devs about how to make AI feel less like sci-fi. You can go back, you can check out all of the previous episodes and details there, but it was such a joy last time. If anybody's in the chat who was here last week, let me know. We've got kind of a quiet chat today. It's a quiet Thursday. Let me know where you're joining us from. Last time we had people from Australia, India, oh my goodness, the US, all over the place. So always excited to hear where you're joining us from. And also, I would advise everyone tuning in live. And if you're not tuning in live, please join us live next time. This is sort of an open office hours, so to speak. So I, of course, am walking through different Microsoft Learn modules and documentation and teaching you how to do these things live. But as we discovered last time, a lot of times I'll decide what different bots to make based on suggestions in the chat, or we'll come up with ideas with different questions people ask. So please ask your questions. I'm here to answer them. Think of it as your office hours. Ooh, hello from Uzbekistan. Wow, that is awesome. I don't even know where that is. I'm gonna have to bing that. Welcome Samdar 808. So exciting. Got people from all over the world joining. I, of course, am here in Oakland, beautiful, sunny Oakland, California. And let me give a little bit of background on myself before we dive into. So today, y'all, okay, I'm gonna go back to the weekly summary here. So today we're talking all about QnA Maker with Azure Bot Service, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's building a bot using a set of Q&A questions. And I love talking about QnA Maker because it kind of feels like witchcraft to me. The first time that I built a bot using QnA Maker, I was like, wait a second. So you're telling me I can just upload a PDF or a Word doc or whatever of questions and answers. I don't have to format them in a certain way and it'll just make a bot for me? The answer, spoiler alert, yes, it is true. You can do that. And that's what we're going to be learning today. But a little bit about me. My name is Chloe. I'm the person here in this picture. I'm honestly somewhat new to bots. I've really enjoyed building bots, and I enjoy a lot of bots. I shared one of my favorite ones last week, which is ladies and gentlemen, it's the weekend bot, which let's see if we can find it. Weekend. You know what? It's linked in one of these things. I should just go to the links. So I talk about, let's find it. Da, 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 da. Oh, maybe I didn't link it here. That's strange. Okay, well, there's a wonderful bot that is ladies and gentlemen, the weekend bot. There we go. Craig Weekend is the name of this Twitter account. And I do not have sound shared currently, but you can check it out yourself. It's just the Twitter account Craig Weekend that every Friday, this is how I got inspired for making my bots. Every Friday, it tweets this video of Daniel Craig on Saturday Night Live introducing the performer The Weeknd. And so it's a video of him going, ladies and gentlemen, The Weeknd. And it was a bot that brought so much joy into my life that I figured I have to start making bots. Like, this is so silly and fun, and it brings such whimsy to my Twitter timeline. So I started building a bunch of bots with my friend PJ. And if you go to episode 1, or this episode 1 summary, we cover a whole bunch of them, which I'll cover really quickly just to give you my history of bots. Oh, hello, PobX from Manchester, England. Ooh, I'm actually a citizen of the UK. My father is from England, and one of my favorite songs from Hair is Manchester, England, England. If you don't know that song, definitely check it out. Great song. Yeah, okay, so a little bit about my history with bots. This all started, and you can hear about it in much more detail on episode 1, with PJ reaching out to me and saying, we should build a bot that tweets that don't impress me much every day. And this was based on a tweet that someone else had written. And I said, you know what? We can build that so quickly using logic apps. So we did. Of course, Shania Bot has a lot of new features now, which we shared on the show last time, or I should say the time before. So not only does it tweet, let's go girls, every day at the same time, but it also has a feature that we built in that if you tweet it with anything that has the word impress in it, so any string, any tweet that even has the word impressed, as long as it has IMPRESS in it, it will respond to you. So Matt, I don't know if you're watching right now, but here's a lovely example that happened today. So if you didn't see it, the Microsoft account, the official Microsoft account, put a tweet out that said, if this gets 200K likes, we'll replace the paperclip emoji in Microsoft 365 with a Clippy. Spoiler alert, they reached the number. Beyond the number. Oh my goodness, it's already at 155.7K. So people tag me in Clippy things a lot. I love Clippy. And someone said, can bots like posts? I feel like this is the sort of thing Shania bot. So bots cannot like posts, to answer this question. At least I don't believe so with the capabilities of the Twitter API. I'll have to check that. I do not believe they do. But Matt commented on Ross's comment here that says, bot Shania, does this impress you? And Shania bot, because it had that word impress in it, was able to respond immediately with that. So I share this just to say, bots don't all just have to tweet out at the same time every day. That's what we built with Logic Apps last week. But now, you can add on new features to your bots, just like we did like this with PJ. Another great example of this, which is also linked in here, a bot that reacts off of things, are two actually. Bodiana Grande, which is, we've got the directions here. If you ever need someone to move along, just let me know with the tag and some eyes, nail painting, and I'll kindly ask them to get gone. So this is a bot that we built after we had built our first bot, Shania, that if you comment and tag Bodiana Grande with these emojis, the side-eye emoji and the fingernail polish emoji, it will respond, thank you, next, which of course is referencing the wonderful song by Ariana Grande, thank you, next, thank you, next. So yeah, there's a bunch of different capabilities you can do with bots. And Azure Logic Apps are one of my favorite ones because it's so easy and lightweight. And QnA Maker is no exception. Ooh, okay, people in the chat. A land far, far away says, okay, let's see. 40 miles from the crow flies. Interesting. We're getting a bunch of info about where people are coming from. Hello from Costa Rica. Thank you for joining Grimlock Blythe. So exciting. I've never been to Costa Rica. I want to, though. All right, so before I get started, does anybody just have any questions right out of the gate? I know I just like bombarded you with a lot of recap on what we did, but basically all you need to know on the previously on GotBots is we had a review of ethical bot creation, an overview of bots, the history of bots, what they do, what they are. Last week we talked about logic apps, which super duper easy. We spun it up in like 10 minutes. You can check that out. And today we're talking all about QnA Maker. Has anybody in the chat worked with QnA Maker before? That would be exciting if someone did. I'm just going to bring up the documentation for QnA Maker real quick so y'all can check this out. Here we go. I'm just going to bring the good old website up here. All right, so QnA Maker, create personalized AI-driven experiences with Azure for your account. Okay, so, oh, this is just, there we go. Okay, we've got all this different stuff here for Azure, but it's part of our cognitive services. And of course, here we go. We've got our QnA Maker site here. So you can basically go from data to bot in minutes. And I know this sounds very marketing and you're like, Chloe, you work at Microsoft, you have to say this. No, y'all, this is very serious. You can go from like a doc to a bot in minutes. So truly, you can build, train, publish a pretty sophisticated bot just using QnA. So this doesn't mean you have to go in, write all the code of like when this question gets asked, do this. I'm going to share a fun little story before we get started. So just to kind of summarize here, it's automatic extraction. You do not need any coding experience, which has been really cool about this series so far. Like I myself am a very technical person. I love to code, but none of the examples, I mean, I would say you need a general awareness of like technology, of course, because as you'll see when we spin up or have seen in our previous streams, you do need to know what you're doing as far as spinning up an instance of Azure and things like that. But really, we have written no code so far in this series, which is wild. Like we've been able to build chatbots using like writing no code. A lot of the UI of Microsoft has handled this for us. It's automatic extraction, multi-turn conversations, active learning, which is very important with the bot, and you can scale it as you need, and it's in different languages, and there's all these different we have Azure Bot Service, of course, and language understanding, all these cool things. I'm super excited to show you all the features of it, but I wanted to take a trip down memory lane real quick because I don't think I've shared this story before. The way that I started to get interested in bots, of course, you can check out our first episode. Originally, I played a lot with Smarter Child, loved playing with Smarter Child back in the day, one of the original AOL Instant Messenger bots. But I actually, one of the first technical interviews that I did was for a developer advocate role at a bot company. I cannot remember what the name is, but for the sake of the story, it doesn't matter. And I learned a bunch in studying for this interview and using their product. So it was basically a chatbot product that analyzed all the information that came in and out of the chatbots to help, understand different trends of your users. And I learned a couple interesting things. So a lot of times, people talk to chatbots like a real human person. And I know this firsthand, right? Like who among us in the chat has ever been, you can always tell when a customer service agent is a bot, or, maybe you're doing a chatbot like Smarter Child or something like that back in the day, where you want to ask them kind of like silly questions, right? Like, are you real? Like, where do you live? Like really silly things like that. So at this company that I applied for, they said, people have conversational chats with these bots. Like a lot of times there'll be customer service bots. There'll be bots like we're going to build today, a Q&A type bot to ask frequently asked questions, or even, celebrities we've mentioned before on the show, like, Lindsay Lohan will have a chat bot that you can interact with, where she can message to you and send alerts to you, but you can also, it's kind of just basically AI that you're chatting with that answers frequently asked Lindsay Lohan questions, for example. But what's really interesting to me is they said, what do you think is the number one picture that people send to bots? And I went, do I want to know the answer to this question? Turns out the number one picture that is sent to bots is categorized as technology. Does anybody know why that is? Probably not. Okay, because when people take selfies in a mirror, the phone is in the photo, and the AI that they were using to detect, like, hey, what is in this image that's being sent, was capturing the phone. So something that you need to remember, and this is a great segue into building a bot with QnA Maker today, is what kind of things are people going to ask your bot? So as engineers, we're constantly thinking of edge cases, right? Like we're thinking, what are weird, strange things that my user is going to do that I'm not going to account for? And I think that's super important with bots, and a really, really good reason to use QnA Maker. Ooh, we've got a chat here that says, yeah, QnA Maker is great. I enjoyed using it while I was learning Azure AI Fundamentals course. Absolutely. It is really cool. And what I love about QnA Maker is it eliminates that, like, oh no, what do I do for those like hundreds of millions of random, strange, weird edge cases and questions that people ask? QnA Maker actually handles this for us, which is very, very cool. So I will get into all of that in great detail in a second, but let me give an example of that. So let's say that we have a chat bot that we're chatting with, and we put it out into the world. And this is, let's think of a random business. Okay, I'm looking at my plant. I have a gardening business. I have a plant store, let's say, and I want to put a chat bot on my website that basically answers frequently asked questions that people ask me about my plants. So I probably have a set of questions, right, that people are going to ask. How much do I need to water my plant? What are your hours? What is your location? So as a human person, as a human woman, I can only kind of account for like what my bot, like frequently asked questions of my bot. But what about those weird edge cases, right? Like, is your bot just going to throw an error if someone asks, like, something that you didn't account for? Like, what if my cat eats my plant? Okay, that probably should be in the Q&A. More like, what if it was someone just trying to mess with your bot and they're just like, I hate plants? Like, what kind of response would have been then? Would an error be thrown? Would it be like, I don't understand? What's really, really cool about QnA Maker is you actually have the option to give it conversational options to respond to those things for you. And I'll show you that in a sec, but that's what I want you to start thinking about. Like, a lot of people ask me, like, Chloe, why wouldn't I just build a bot from scratch? You can build a bot from scratch. Like, absolutely build a bot from scratch. I'm sure you're fully capable, but there's a lot of edge cases and commonly, done things that maybe you're not accounting for when you're building this bot. A really, really great part of QnA Maker is you're able to not only put in the questions and answers and have, like, it has active learning in it. So you can improve the ranking model through suggestions based on your bot's usage and user feedback. That kind of probably sounds like marketing jargon, but I will show you exactly what that means in a second. But yeah, I think that you really need, like, I think as engineers, we tend to want to, we're like, oh, I can build that from scratch. I can reinvent the wheel and just like build my own bot service. But what Microsoft's really doing for you here is taking a lot of the heavy work and just making that very, very easy for you. So should we get started? I'm ready to get started. If y'all want to follow along, of course, all of the links and deets and everything that I talk about, I'm more of a learner who likes to listen and watch along versus follow along. So later you can go to aka.ms/gotbotslinks. Everything, all the summaries that I do, I usually get around to it a couple days later with all of the timestamps and the links. And if I say, oh, I'll link to that later in the show, I always link to them in here. So check out that link above if you want to follow along later. But otherwise, I think we should just get started. So let's get started with Azure. I have a link that y'all can check out here. It is aka.ms/gotbotslinks3. That will take you directly to, let me show you. Currently, it'll take you to this, which is a Microsoft Learn module, how to build a bot with QnA Maker, Azure Bot Service. This has a lab that you can just like play with it yourself for free in there. So I would recommend doing that later on your own time and just following along with me today, because this isn't my first rodeo. I've built a bot or two in my in my time here. So I'm just going to go to the Azure portal to start. And again, if anybody has any questions along the way, if anything is confusing, let me know. Ooh, let's see. I've got a question here. Slightly specific question, but is it easy to make the bot only accessible internally via Teams rather than public/Twitter? Sorry if it's been covered. Yeah, totally. So actually that Learn module that I just mentioned, the aka.ms/gotbotslinks3, talks about that in the Learn module. But absolutely, like even with logic apps on the last episode that we did, it's super easy, like right out of the box. There's like, you can put bots in Teams or Slack, like internal bots. You can have an internal and external facing bots just with different bot services. Absolutely. Totally doable. So the only thing that I really prepped, which I honestly didn't really need to prep at the end of the day, and let me find this real quick, is this. This is just a doc that I got, or sorry, this is a Word doc that I got from the Microsoft Docs. That's an example one, but I figured we would live on this stream make our own Q&A bot, and really all we need for that is a set of questions and answers. So I'll ask y'all in the chat while I walk through my demo real quick. What should we make a Q&A bot for? Like, I was trying to think before the stream, so I can make like a Chloe Q&A that's like, what color is your hair? How can I contact you? But let's think of something fun. Does anybody have a specific, maybe a franchise or a specific thing? So to recap, we did a bunch of Clippy Q&A. We got it. Oh my gosh. Perfect. Surly Dev. This is perfection. How did I not think of this? We're going to do a Clippy Q&A. Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little bit behind the scenes of what we're going to do, and then I'm going to walk you through it. So I already went in here today, and I made a little demo. I did a QnA Maker demo, but actually, you know what? Let's just start from scratch. I'm going to create a resource. I'm going to make this a little bigger. There we go. And I'm going to search QnA Maker. Make sure you put QnA Maker. And I'm going to click create. Super easy, right? So I'm going to go over here. This really is probably will look similar to you if you've ever hosted anything on Azure before. Similarly, when we did our logic apps, or when we made our logic app on the last one, probably saw a similar thing to this. This is just putting in my description, my resource group here. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to make this bots with 2 T's. Actually, you know what? Let's do got bots. Oop, oh my god. Okay, got bots. Demo. Perfect. Okay, so create a new one. Awesome. Now I am going to choose my resource group location. I'm over here on the West Coast, so I'm going to do West US 2. And we're going to do a name for it. So I'm going to do got bots demo Q&A. Perfect. For my pricing tier, I am going to do just the standard one. This is a basic one that we have here. And yeah, so for search details, so this is search to index your data. I'm also going to make this West US 2, mainly because this is a bot that I'm building and it's for me. And I'm picking free with 3 indexes as my pricing tier, because I want to make sure that anybody doing this at home can just do it for free. And then app service details for runtime. This is going to be when you host it, it's the compute engine that runs the queries for the QnA Maker. Again, I'm going to make this one that is close to me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I have insights enabled here. I'm going to also do West US for this one. Where'd you go, West US? There you are. And really, I'm not going to do any tags. I'm not going to do any fancy. I'm just going to review and create. I'm going to click create, probably take like a minute or 2. Oops, let's see. Oh, because I already made one earlier. Okay, so I already did this earlier, which is why it's throwing me that little error. And we can actually take a look at this one, which it took about a minute or 2 for it to go up there. But I just started a quick start one as a demo for y'all. And truly all that I did is all of the steps that I just did, filled in those things. And then it brought me to here. My resource is live, and I've got my keys ready. When I want to embed this into, my website or into my code, of course. So step 1, get the API key, authenticate your application, start sending calls to the service. So we're going to actually skip to step 2 because I just want to show you the very, very easy functionality. Well, first I'll open up the documentation and I'll open up the Q&A portal. But really all we're doing in this second step here is we are just putting our questions and answers into QnA Maker. It'll make a lot more sense in a second. Let me just show you. Okay, so here we go. Apologies for the airplane going over me right now. So step 1, create a QnA service in Microsoft Azure. We already did that, which is great. And so I should be able to come here. Okay, airplane, thank you for the cameo. I select my subscription, which is CH Condon. And I have my QnA service in here. Now this QnA demo is the thing that we just set up in the Azure portal. So it's already in my dropdown here. And the language is English because I only speak English. I wish that I spoke more languages. And then you're going to name your knowledge base. So you can name your knowledge base anything. I think we should name it Clippy. Let's do Clippy QnA, shall we? Clippy QnA. By the way, love this idea, Surly Dove. Thank you. And then we have to populate our database. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, Chloe, this is going to be so much work. No, actually, no. So let me show you. Oops, let me minimize this. So really all you need to populate it is something like this. So where did I get this? I got this from the documentation. Let me show you. So if you go into the awesome docs here, it tells you everything that I'm telling you right now. But they have some examples in the docs of different formats that you can use for QnA Maker. And actually, I think it's linked right here. So knowledge base sources. Learn more about making QnA Maker. Okay, so I'm going to open up this right here. I think this is what I looked at earlier. Cool. So we'll get into chit chat content in a second. That is one of my favorite parts of this. But truly all you need, you're probably thinking, oh, I got to do like a structured format. Actually, no. You can do any kind of file or URL data types, such as you can do a URL to a plain old FAQ like this. You can do a home page that has topics on it. You can do a sample. Here's a sample product manual that would work in this case. These are all hosted in GitHub here. So like, here's just a product. Like you could literally just upload a product manual and have it turn into a bot. Very cool, right? So they've got all these examples here. I figured we would just do something really simple, and since it's Clippy, we should probably do it in a Word doc, right? But truly, like, here's a semi-structured doc example. Like, you do not have to have your information in a specific format, which is really cool. I just downloaded the same one that I did earlier. But so the semi-structured one, oh, no, this is a new one. I have the structured one open. So here's a semi-structured example that we have in the docs here. This is literally just a Word doc, right? Like this is just a formatted, normal, almost looks like documentation, right? Our chatbot or the QnA service is going to be smart enough to take a look at that and make a bot out of it. Similar with this. This is a structured one that just has like question, answer. And the way that, basically what Microsoft is doing on the back end here is going like, great, here's a question, here's the answer to it, here's how we'll answer it. Kind of magic. But to showcase this in a way that makes a little bit more sense. Okay, helicopter. There's a helicopter circling my house. We are just going to make our own Q&A, y'all. And you're all going to help me. I should also mention Excel is another format. You can do a TXT file. Lots of different ways that you can populate this. But I figured what we can do is we can make a doc that just has a bunch of questions and answers in it, right? If I can, here, let me open up Microsoft Word real quick, because that is where Clippy lives, is in Word. By the way, if you're just joining, if you haven't seen my background, how appropriate that we're doing a Clippy bot, right? Okay, so I'm opening Word. I'm going to open a new blank document, and this is going to be just a simple, I'm using it in the browser here, which is fine. So let's do some Give me your questions about Clippy. Let's do a Q&A on Clippy, right? So I have one. What gender is Clippy? I know the answer to this. Great question. And of course, it's totally up to you, like how you answer these. You'll see when we get to the chit chat part, which is so cool. I'm so excited to show you the chit chat part, that it will pre-populate kind of the vibe and aesthetic of, actually, let me just show you real quick. So after we upload this, oops, there we go. Once we upload in step 4, we get to choose what kind of chit chat our bot uses. So professional, friendly, witty, caring, enthusiastic. I've played a bunch with all of these. They are accurate to what they are. Me personally, if you haven't been able to tell, I'm very quirky. I love having fun. And I think Clippy should probably be either friendly, enthusiastic, witty, or caring. Let me know in the chat which one you think he should be, or they should be, I should say, because first question that we're answering is, what gender is Clippy? Great question. Clippy is genderless. Clippy is genderless. That is true. I know that from the creator of Clippy. Great. So let's put some more questions in here. And you can go in and bold these if you want. Like, I like to just do that for the sake of it. Okay, let's see. How old are you? How old are you? Let's look. How old is Clippy? When was Clippy invented? I'm bad at math. You guys have to help me. Clippy, Wikipedia. See, Clippy's in the news so much because of this emoji thing. It's so exciting. But let's go to Clippy's Wikipedia and figure out how old Clippy is. Does anybody know? When did Clippy debut? Let's search that. Clippy was debuted in, when was Clippy invented? 96. Someone do the math on that for me. 96. I have dyscalculia, so I have an excuse. I'm not great at numbers. Let's see. First, I'm going to name this Clippy QnA. Okay. How old are you? We'll get back to that in a second, or I'll just search it. What is Clippy made of? Great question. Great question, Bob X. What are you made of? What are you? Because we're going to assume this chatbot is Clippy. You made of? I am made of metal. This is such a, I love that like every stream that we do for GodBot is like 25-ish. Okay, great. I'm going to put the exact wording. I am 25-ish. Wow, Clippy is 25-ish? That makes sense because when I was about 5 or 6, I feel like, yeah, Clippy was in my Microsoft Word when I was in my elementary school classes. Okay, let's keep going. Hello, thank you. Yeah, I just started streaming. Thank you, Stefan. I just started streaming this series that I've been doing through Twitch because my Twitch hasn't been getting much love. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm gonna keep doing that. Okay, let's do a couple more questions in here. What do you think of staples? That's a great question, Surly Dove. Let's do that also. Okay, now do you mean Staples the store or Staples? No, I'm just kidding. But actually, which one do you mean? What do you think of Staples? I'm going to say, since you capitalized it, probably the store. Let's see. What do you think of Staples? I'm going to say the paper retention device. Okay, cool. What do you think of Staples? Gosh, I feel so odd speaking on behalf of Clippy, but I think what Clippy would say is, I love and appreciate all office supplies. That's what I'm going to say. Okay, let's do a couple more questions and then we'll upload this thing. Ooh, I'm going to spell supplies wrong. 3 P's. Okay, no. And let's see. What other? We've got a question here that says, if you stored when he was born in the doc, would QnA do the math for you and answer with Clippy's age? Ooh, that is a good question that we can test out. Yeah, so I want to say that old and born, probably QnA Maker will connect that, but let's test that when we get to there. I love that question. Staples just prove the market demand for paper retention. So true. Okay. Let's see. How is your eyesight? Yeah, we've got some great Clippy questions. Do you have any siblings? Let's put that in there. Do you have any siblings? Now, I don't know the answer to this question because I feel like all of the other office assistants are kind of siblings. So I'm going to answer this question on behalf of Clippy as I have a bunch of friends. Have you met Kairu? Let me make sure I spelled that right. Kairu. If you don't know who Kairu is, Kairu office assistant is the Japanese version of Clippy, which is, let's see, Cairo dolphin. I'm spelling it wrong. Kairu dolphin is this lovely office assistant, which was the Japanese version of Clippy. Definitely recommend checking out this Kairu video of all the cute little features. He even has a shell laptop, very cute. Let's see, this is spelled Kairu. Have you met Kairu? Or what are the other office assistants' names? We'll just do that for now. This is our very simple Q&A, which y'all, I'm going to be right back and close my window because there is a helicopter circling. 1 second. Much better. Sorry, y'all. I don't know what is going on outside in Oakland, but some noisy helicopters here. Okay. Hopefully y'all can still hear me. Let me know if you can. So we've got our very basic doc here. I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this as, I'm going to download this as a PDF onto my computer. Download. Cool. We've got our Clippy Q&A. Amazing. So really the most work we've done so far is just making the questions. So now all we have to do, I'm going to close these additional tabs here that we have, is we just have to go to our QnA Maker and upload it. Isn't that crazy? I'm super excited, y'all. So I'm going to add the file. And let's see, this is going to be, okay, in my downloads, probably Clippy Q&A. Ignore all of the crazy stuff that I have in here. Clippy Q&A PDF. Ta-da! Look at that. That was easy. So now we populated our knowledge base. Isn't that wild? It was that easy. All we had to do is upload this file. I told you it's super easy. Okay, so now let's have a vote in the chat. What kind of chit chat should we do? Now, to let you know what chit chat is here, I don't know why this helicopter is going over my home. So you can add chit chat to your bot to make it more conversational and engaging. So this is exactly what I was talking about before, just making it so easy to have a pre-populated set of top chit chat into your knowledge base. So really what this is exactly what I was saying before. Like if you build your own bot from scratch, you're going to have to account for like the millions of billions of, well, not millions of billions, but like thousands of different questions that can be asked to this bot, right? So really what the chit chat does is, here's some great examples. So like, when is your birthday? I know this sounds so strange that people ask bots this, but this happens. And if you don't have something set up, like it's much better user experience for your user to actually have a response for this versus, sorry, I don't have the answer to that question. Like, because if I'm thinking I'm building my own bot from scratch, not using QnA Maker, not using Logic Apps, I'm going to have to account for, I'm either going to have a phrase that's like, I don't answer that question, that responds to any question I don't have accounted for, or it's going to throw an error probably, right? So this is really what the chit chat is. So here's a couple different examples, and let me make this a little bit bigger for y'all. There we go. So asking a question like, when is your birthday? Depending on the different style that we choose, is going to answer different ways. So professional, age doesn't really apply to me. This is an acting series. Friendly, I don't really have an age. Witty, I'm age-free. Oh, that's very witty. Caring, I don't have an age. And then enthusiastic, I'm a bot, so I don't have an age. And you can, of course, go in and change all these as well, which is really cool. Oh, yeah. So Stefan says, ooh, cool. I was curious how you're going to build the question detector. I would have done something silly like look for a keyword in the sentence string. Yeah, so this is just like truly doing all the work for us. It kind of feels like cheating in a weird way, but truly what these things exist for, like logic apps, QnA Maker, all that fun stuff, is it exists to make engineers' lives easier. Like instead of having to start from scratch, we can just spin something up very, very quickly. Okay, so enough about that. I'm thinking, okay, based off of these examples, I want to say enthusiastic or friendly or witty or yeah, I agree. When you're making a bot, when you make a bot, cheating is the only way to do it. Very true. The easiest way, the better, right? We got to save our time doing the important things like changing the world with our code. I'm going to say Clippy is very enthusiastic and friendly. Ooh, I'm very torn between these options. I'm going to say, okay, what do y'all think? Do you have an opinion what we should choose for the chit chat? Maybe enthusiastic, friendly? I mean, Clippy's pretty friendly. I'm a bot, so I don't have an age. Okay, let's see if they have any other examples. They have all the languages here. Okay. We can always change it. I'm gonna say let's do friendly. Clippy is friendly. And then we just create our knowledge base. Y'all, watch this. This is wild. This is the witchcraft. This is like okay, so it takes a minute. Look at this. Ta-da! Remember that doc that we just made live on the air about Clippy's gender, how old Clippy is, what Clippy thinks is staples? In those couple seconds, just populated all of that for us. So yeah, so look at this. You can also add alternative phrasing. This is all just the UI to change this and make different conversational flows. Now we can get a lot more in depth with this, which actually I may change next week's stream to even diving deeper into this because we've only got about 10-ish minutes left. But isn't this cool? This is literally like, okay, this is really funny. So here's a chit chat friendly, and you can see, so this is just a CSV file that Microsoft has created. So here's a bunch of commonly said things to bots. Isn't this funny? Like, you're dull. I'm so proud of you. I have not seen this before. You're so blah. Could you be any less entertaining? So there's all these like negative things. Oh my gosh, I've never seen these. Good Lord, you are dull. Most of these are just telling our bot that they're dull, but there's all sorts of questions here. Like, do you have a birthday? When's your birthday? I bet you're young. Can you ask me why I'm here? What can you inform me about? There's all of these different questions that come populated with our chit chat that we added, right? So this is saving us so much time because then we don't have to write an answer for every single question. Oh my gosh. Talking to you is like watching paint dry. Apparently people really dislike bots. So anyway, there's all these different things that you can do. And what's really, really cool, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So remember, all of this stuff that's populated in here, other than, you'll see that we have about 10 plus pages of options. Those additional ones, besides the, how many questions that we had? We had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are all the chit chat. So if I just open here, you can add a pair in here. You can view your different options, of course. But what I really like is you can actually test this. And then you can also save and train it. But let's test it real quick. So, ooh, someone had a great, so first let's start out like, what is, oops, if my keyboard will work or not. Okay, I think I must have moved and then it, okay, I'm going to type it on my big keyboard then. How old are you? Or let's say, what is your age? What? How old? Of course, if we ask the exact, whoa, I'm in all caps here. How old are you? It will respond. I don't really have an age. Wait a second. How old are you? Okay. So this is something that we want to inspect. So when we have these situations, we can actually go in here And we can say, no, we want it to answer with this. So that's actually a really great example of how we can kind of like test this and change it around. So how about we do, what are you made of? What are you made of? I am made of metal. Okay, cool. So what is really cool is we can save and train this. And then when we have these situations where it doesn't answer the way that we want, we can just go in and change what the answers are. So let's do it. Let's go in here. So we can edit it, of course. We can publish it. That would just give us our API keys that we can go and like put this somewhere else. Got our settings here. But I'm going to start over. Let's do bots on staples. Let's see if this works. Thoughts on staples. I love and appreciate all office supplies. Very cool, right? So let's see if we can kind of stump it. So someone asked earlier, ooh, let me find it. We had an example earlier, right? Where someone said, if I ask it a question this way, oh, if you stored when he was born in the doc, would QnA do the math for you and answer Clippy's age? Let's test that. Because if it doesn't, we can make it answer that way, right? Because we're training it. So, and there's follow-up prompts. See, I think maybe what we'll do, y'all, I'm thinking next week might be sneaky and make next week's, next week's supposed to be building Azure chatbots in the Azure portal. And this is kind of the Azure portal. We might continue on with this next week, but let's do that. Let's do this question about being born. So remember, the way that we had it in our doc was, how old are you? So let's try asking it, when were you born? I'm gonna guess no, but we can train it to do that, because this is essentially just NLP, AI, and machine learning, right? Like, it's taking different keywords from it. But let's see. I don't really have an age. Okay. So in this case, we want to inspect this, and we're like, okay, we can add alternative phrasing, first of all, which is exactly what we're talking about in this case. Look at this, these examples. I think you should follow your heart, BFFs. So we can actually go in here and just change it. So it thinks that the confidence score is 100. Clearly, that is not what we want. So we can actually, what I would do in this case is let's make an alternative phrasing. Let me put this over here. Okay, so for here, let's add an alternative phrasing. So we did that earlier when we corrected it with, it looks like it was a capitalization thing here, but we can put, when were you born? Save that. And let's try it on another one too. What do you think of staples? Do you have any siblings? We could do like, these are making me laugh. Do you have a brother? You know, all kinds of stuff like this. So let's do that. Let's save and train. This is just updating our knowledge base with the stuff that we trained. Hi, y'all. Oh, hi, Dan Pop. I owe you a message. I've just been so busy. I will do that tonight. Ooh, we've got some questions here. With QnA Maker, can the bot ask a follow-up question in order to provide more specific response? Yes, it's almost like Tran that you read my mind here. Absolutely. And I think if we don't get to that today, which we have a couple minutes, we probably will, I'll make sure to cover that on the next episode. That's really what this follow-up prompt thing is here. So let's see, let's test. So we just went in here and we added the brother thing and we added the born thing. So let's say, when were you born? Of course we know. What? Hold on. When were you born? Okay, let's inspect this. So we can go in here. I don't really have an age is not what we want. We want, did we not save it? That's so strange. I am 25-ish. Oh, there we go. I am 25-ish. Should be what we're doing there. Interesting. Okay. When were you born? I am 25-ish. Again, when were you born? Interesting. So I'm going to go in here and play. What I would like to do, y'all, is I would like to get our Clippy bot to a point where we can do some of these follow-up prompt things. So follow-up prompts are kind of like these conversational flow things that you can link Q&A pairs with them. You can do buttons, you can do suggested actions. What I would like to do is next week when we meet up, and I'll have maybe the last 5 minutes for questions here. I'm going to get this into like a fully fledged like Clippy Q&A, which, oh my goodness, this is going to be so funny. Like telling people like, come to my stream next week to talk about my Clippy Q&A bot. But hey, I think we got enough Clippy fans that people are going to join. But I would like to get this to a point where it is solid, and then we can go in and kind of play with it. So let's see. What else can we do while we're in here? Ooh, we've got a couple questions. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Okay. QnA Maker. Did we answer this one? Yes. Follow-up questions. I think to answer your question here, I am going to go in. I thought we would be able to cover this today, but I'm going to cover that next week. So join us next Thursday, same time, same place, and I will show you all of that. It's very cool. Actually, I will link this in the show notes, but I built one of these, like a fully fledged wine bot. I have a post about on Dev2, which if you go to the links, I will make sure to link this. But I worked with an engineer who's starting out at Holberton, who was a sommelier before they got into engineering. And we actually built a Q&A bot that answered frequently asked questions about wine. So everything from, what pairs well with a white, what pairs well with a red, so many things like this. I will make sure to put this in the show notes. But again, super, super simple to build, right? Like basically all we had to do, we had a sommelier who had all the questions and the answers. We uploaded that doc into QnA Maker, and then we were able to save and train all of that information. So really all we did today, y'all, which isn't like all we did, it's just super easy, is we spun up an instance of the QnA Maker. We spun up an instance of the QnA Maker in Cognitive Services. We then went over to the QnA Maker portal, which is what we were in over here. We uploaded our PDF, and then we just started playing with it. And I mean, this is very, very out of the box. We did a very basic short Google Doc, but I think what I would like to do, what I am planning to do, is between now and next week, I'm going to make a fully fledged Q&A for Clippy. We're going to upload it. We're going to test it. We're going to try running it with alternate phrases and getting it to a point where we feel comfortable enough publishing it. That'd be exciting. Then we could like have a live Clippy Q&A hosted on the internet. Although I don't know if I want to host the Clippy Q&A bot, because I do get Azure credits from work, but I have a feeling based on all this like recent Clippy news and how many people liked that tweet, I have a feeling a lot of people are going to want to access this. So, let's see. I love this. Do you have a partner? Clippy could answer something like, I'm in a relationship with a staple. We are very committed. Surly Jab, you not only came up with the idea for the Clippy bot, I think we have to put this in there. Although, I don't know, do we want to keep it canon? I guess we can make it playful. We'll make it very playful. Great. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for joining. Definitely join next week. Next week, can you also show us briefly how you troubleshoot issues you encountered today? Absolutely. I think what we'll cover is not only, because I think probably it was just an issue of me not saving it or not making it as a pair maybe, but making sure like we have all of the different alternate phrasings in here, how we can see. I also, between now and then, we'll see if I can get some folks to play with it and test it, and we can see questions. So really, really cool part of this of QnA Maker is being able to see the questions that your users are asking it, and then being able to iterate and change what your bot answers based on the questions. So for example, let's say a bunch of people start asking Clippy about the new Windows emoji. And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, let me show you real quick. If you just search Clippy right now, because it is trending in the news, Microsoft did a tweet. Actually, let's just show it. We've got time. We've got a couple of minutes. We've got a minute or two here. So I've been tweeting about this a lot, so I'll just show you. The official Microsoft account tweeted out, if this gets enough likes, we will bring Clippy back. So this is what we're talking about. Yeah, so Clippy is just like, look at that, 156.4. I've never gotten that many likes on something. But yeah, I think that like we could absolutely put a question in there where let's say someone goes to our bot in its current state and they ask a question of when will your emoji be added to Microsoft 365? We don't have an answer for that. I'm going to assume the Chit Chat doesn't have an answer for that as well. So that's what I'm thinking. Like next week we can go in. I'll do a couple sample questions to it, like where's your emoji? And then we can go in and based off of user questions, iterate on our bot and change it. But oh my goodness, it's 4. That went by so quickly. I'm super excited to play around more with our Clippy bot. Very exciting. Thank you all for joining today. Again, all of the links to episodes, and I do a recap blog post that has all of the previous things here. If you go to aka.ms/gotbots links. This will link you to all of the previous episodes, all of the different show notes. I will have a recap for today's episode 3, up very soon. And I'm super excited for you to join next week for episode 4, where it says making bots with Azure Portal, but I think we're going to continue on this. We got to finish our Clippy bot, right? But I am so excited to continue to build more bots with you. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out on Twitter, in the comments, on YouTube. Happy to be here, happy to help. And thank you for joining today. I will see y'all next week on Got Bots. Bye, y'all.